यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य
ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः सर्वोपप्लवरहित प्रज्ञान घन प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्माहमस्मि सोहमस्मि ब्रह्माहमस्मि। ओम प्रपन्न पारिजाताय तोत्र वेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। May the Almighty Shri Lord Venkateshwara bestow all kinds of prosperity, health, wealth and eternal happiness with Paripurna Lakshmi Katakshams to you and the entire your family and friends. Let us begin Bhagavad Gita, verse number 10 of chapter number 14. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Rajastamascha Vibhuya Sattvam Bhavati Bharata Rajas Sattvam Tamaschaiva Tamas Sattvam Rajastatha. Bhagavan is describing the nature of Trigunas, and these Trigunas which are born out of Maya. What is the evidence? The evidence which are given in Vedanta. Upanishad also talks about Mayantu Prakritim Vidyat Mayinantu Maheshwaram. Shvetaspataro Upanishad talks about Maya and Mayavi in detailed way. And also in the Viveka Chudamani, Acharya says, Avyakta Namni Paramesha Shaktihi Anadya Vidya Trigunatmika Para Karyanumeya Sudhiyaiva Maya Yaya Jagadidam Sarvam Prasuyate, out of which everything is born, is known as Maya, which is in the form of Trigunas called Maya, which is also said in the name of Avyaktam. Avyaktam means what? Unmanifested. That unmanifested entity but which exists, which causes for all the manifestations. In order to define that, we use the method of Trigunas, and giving definition of Trigunas is to explain the potentiality of Maya. Now just we are learning about Maya. Maya is the potential cause which is in the form of matter principle of this creation. So once we are undergoing this process which is known as Triguna Vivekaha, understanding and analyzing Trigunas will help us to become successful to material aspects or to spiritual aspects. In both ways, the people will become successful. Therefore, Bhagavan has begun to analyze gunas to establish Gunathita Vastu. All these analyses are given here to establish that which is beyond Trigunas. Now, what the gunas and gunas nature and gunas karyam, the effect of gunas, the nature of gunas, and not only that, the tendency, they said, bandhatmakam. The tendency of guna is to tie us, is to bind us. The problem begins from here alone. Now, gunas are the source of bondage. How they become the source of bondage, that we have to learn. That's what Bhagavan is bringing in elaborate way, but we need to have the patience with this education. Bhagavan defined first the lakshana of these gunas. What are the lakshanas of these gunas? Sattvam prakashatmakam. Sattvam prakashatmakam means what? Any object or entity which is endowed with sattva is tend to gain more knowledge. Knowledge hunters, the mind which always wants to gain more knowledge and which would like to use jnanendriyas. That's what the nature of the mind which is occupied or predominated with sattva guna. Now, all the details of gunas are taught in order to understand about our ahankara. Ahankara, which becomes a center point, which becomes a victim of these three gunas. The ahankara, which is endowed with sattva guna, will fix a goal which is more knowledge oriented, not action oriented, knowledge oriented. They would like to use more buddhi, they would like to use more jnanendriyas. For the people who are predominated by sattva gunas, is dependent over the knowledge. They are knowledge hunters. Their mind and buddhi, which are endowed with the urge to gain more knowledge, therefore they always depend on the sense organs. Then the sense organs means the organs which helps them to gain knowledge. This is high level understanding about sattva guna, prakashatmakam sattvam. They will be endowed with clarity, they will fix the goal very clearly, the goal which will provide pleasure, and the goal which is endowed with ideology, the goal which doesn't have darkness in it. They because they are knowledge oriented people. They live high level of living. Their lifestyle is something harmless, at the same time it is endowed with dignity. They also select means for the goal also in a proper way. They don't disturb others while selecting the goal. While selecting the means also, they are very careful, and while performing the actions towards that also, they will select the decent way of approaching towards karma. This sattvika oriented people, completely their life is full of clarity, their life is full of ahimsa, their life is endowed with full of balanced emotions. They will have sattvika ahara. All these things Krishna will tell later, but their life seems to be is the life of a celestial being in a human body. Therefore, ahankara is to be realized. That which is endowed with sattva guna will be having a high level of lifestyle and life and achievements, and that mind may be eligible, or it will become eligible very quickly to pursue the knowledge. The mind which is eligible to pursue the knowledge, because already their tendency is to live with high level thinking, high level knowledge. They would like to mingle with the same tendency of the people. This is sattva guna's nature, the ahankara. So ahankara which is endowed with sattva guna, so they are endowed with this kind of tendencies which I explained now. Then the rajoguna, the nature of rajoguna, the definition of rajoguna. The definition of rajoguna is what? Ragatmakam vidhi. Ragatmakam vidhi means what? The mind which is endowed with passion. These people are not knowledge oriented people. The mind which is tend to gain more and more achievements, these people are action oriented people. These people would like to use the karmendriyani rather than jnanendriyani. Karmendriyani means what? Organs of action. They are more towards power of the world, not towards knowledge of the world. Their goals always are colored by power oriented, and not only that, desire oriented. They will give priority to their likes and dislikes. But the sattva people, they give priority to the dharma. These rajoguna people will give priority to their own likes and dislikes. They would like to establish their ego, the ahankara. which is predominated by Rajoguna will give the, what is that, the primary importance. The mind which is occupied, or ahankara which is occupied by Rajoguna nature, it will give importance only to the self. Self means ahankara. So it will take, it is the center point. Their life is only centered on their ego. They may also give priority to dharma, but to establish their own ego. So now these people are action oriented people. They fix the goal in which there is a competition, the goal which is endowed with power, the goal which is endowed with name and fame, and the infrastructure of the goal itself, it needs lots of struggle, action oriented. These people can be like the people of sports. These Satoguna people are like writers and poets, like the high level Valmiki and Vyasa, and these people are Vasishtha. All these people are knowledge oriented. Now these people, all the warriors of our ancient times are Kshatriyas. Kshatriyas, you see, these four varnas were divided by the nature, by the characteristic of Sattva and Raja and Tamoguna. It is very helpful to learn about these gunas. Now, Rajogunaha means the nature which is endowed with action oriented tendency, which is endowed with the goals which is including lots of powers in it. Then these people always ugravantaha means they are very powerful people. They would like to use the physical power, mental power, force. This is second nature. Then the third, tamoguna. Tamoguna, the mind which is endowed with always drowsiness, or we can say the mind which always leads to procrastination. Always they're not clear what do they want. They fix a goal. The goal is not clear. They select the means of that goal. The means also is not clear. They struggle a lot, and they will also harm others. They will harm their own self, and they want to go in short way to reach the goal, which is never becomes successful. Therefore, always endowed with darkness, deluded people, completely the mind which is deluded, which doesn't have clarity of the goal, clarity of the means, clarity of the method of working effort. They don't know how to bring the infrastructure for their effort. Completely deluded mind. These are all the basic understanding which is given by all these 4 or 5 verses. Okay. Then Bhagavan also said that next step is to understand the benefit of these gunas. The first he gave the nature of gunas and lakshana. Lakshana means what? Definition of gunas. Then prayojana of the gunas. Sattvam sukhe sanjayati. Sattva guna always makes the person to connect with pleasure. Rajoguna makes a person to connect with more actions. Tamoguna always it makes a person to connect with dark. Okay, it brings more and more pramada. Pramada means what? Jnanam avritya tamaha pramade sanjayati. It ties a person with delusions. That's what we had completed in the last session, the 9th verse. Now, the 10th verse, it brings a different kind of understanding of these gunas. He says, Rajas tamascha bhibhuya sattvam bhavati bharata. He divides all this being into 3 categories. You think about stones, mountains, and even all these kind of stationary things. Those stationary things also have 3 gunas, But which guna dominates among these three gunas? They are not having action-oriented nature. They are not even endowed with the prakasha-oriented nature, knowledge-oriented tendency. Therefore, they are predominated by tamogunas. All inert object. So all these furnitures, wooden or plastic, or all the buildings, mountains. So all these inert things are known as predominated by tamasic nature one. Okay, but the other two natures are not visible, but they do have other two characteristics. So they are predominated by tamas, but rajoguna and tamoguna is there. It is there. So the tamoguna which overpowers other two gunas. Therefore, in the Srishti, whenever you see a dead material, we have to realize this material is predominated by tamas. Okay, and rajoguna and satoguna is lying into that. Therefore, when you pick a stone, throw the stone, that connects with the action, therefore it is able to travel. The same stone, if it is given to a sculptor, he will make a nice deity. So when he makes a deity of Saraswati or Vinayaka or Lord Venkateshwara, Sattva-guna is expressive then. The deity helps us to communicate with the God, with the Sattva-guna. Therefore, so the usage of the material must be with understanding of these gunas. When we understand properly, then we will learn how to handle with the materials, how to handle with the plants. And these are all first varieties of creatures which are predominated by tamoguna. And think about the plants. The plants, they don't move here and there. They become little bit more sentient than the stones, rock, etc., furniture, etc. The wood, that tree which grows, which seems to be having a little bit sense, it grows towards sunlight, and it also gives fruits and flowers and good smell, fragrance comes out of flowers. Out of these plants, we also make medicine. That medicine cures us. It's a little bit more dominant by rajoguna. So tamoguna is suppressed, the rajoguna comes a little bit. And think about birds and animals. So they are a little bit more than this, a little bit more than the plants. These animals, they move one place to other place. They also can be divided into three categories. The sattva-guna dominance rajoguna, or tamoguna dominance rajoguna, and rajoguna completely dominant rajoguna. This all lion, tiger, elephant kind of animals are completely rajoguna. Cows are said to be rajoguna, but predominated by a little bit conjuncted with sattva-guna. There are categories can be taken in depth also. We can go to the deep level of understanding it, but generally all animals which are predominated by rajoguna, then the stones, etc., materials. Then it comes about human being. So human being which is more predominated by, which have to be predominated by sattva guna, but it is not seen. There are categories. The tamoguna dominated people and the rajoguna dominated people, the sattva guna dominated people. When we were born, the gunas are in the state of equilibrium. It doesn't come out. Even in the sleep, the gunas becomes an asamya avastha. It is not seen at all. When a person wakes up, then alone we can see the difference of gunas. It is a unique understanding, So when we understand the gunas, so at that time we gain more capacity or more knowledge to handle the things with. Now all this teaching to find out which guna we are endowed with, not to check others, not to measure others, to comment on others, not to criticize on others, to just realize ourselves. Therefore, so many characters are introduced in our Puranas. Every character you see, it's seemingly endowed with, predominated by some kind of gunas. Even the character which is known as Bhishmacharya. The Bhishmacharya, who was the person endowed with clarity, but still he was Rajoguna person, because he wanted to prove himself, he wanted to establish Satyam, doesn't know the certain clarity, Sattva. When Krishna comes in front of him, then he gains more and more Sattva nature. It was not like that he was not having clarity. He had the clarity, but more Rajoguna nature he had. Then finally he becomes as a person who is dominated by Sattva. Then he teaches Vishnu Sahasranama. Like the life is to travel from Tamoguna to Sattva guna to Gunathitaha. See, Tamas to Rajas, Rajas to Sattvam, Sattvam to Gunathitaha. So Gunathita means the state of beyond gunas to be realized. So that for that alone we are analyzing these gunas. The analysis of three gunas will help more and more to the people to become clear about Atma. That's all. That's what you know. Rajas tamascha vibhuya sattvam bhavati bharata. There are three kinds of beings. So tamoguna dominated and rajoguna dominated, sattva dominated. Okay, that's what the conclusion by the verse number 10. Now among the people itself, the ahankara. Ahankara means the I, limited I. So this ahankara becomes victim for all gunas. And now we have to be careful with ahankara. So when ahankara adapts rajoguna, definitely it will be bringing pain and pleasure, the nature of action-oriented tendency. That's what it will bring. When the ahankara is endowed with sattva guna, so we are safe. We will be endowed with pleasure. But when is ahankara is deluded, definitely there is going to be pain. That's what the impact of this ahankara. Because ahankara is the life. We live a life with ahankara. Ahankara becomes a main tool for survival. We think being in the form of ahankara, we act being in the form of ahankara, we also enjoy being in the form of ahankara. Therefore, kartrutva, bhoktrutva, sahitaha ahankara. Ahankaraha, the I which is endowed with kartrutva, bhoktrutva nature. That ahankara which feels I am the doer, the ahankara which also feels or enjoys I am the enjoyer. The state of doer, the state of enjoyer is experienced by ahankara. That ahankara which is in the form of three gunas, because that ahankara, as I told you, it is the borrowed consciousness. That reflected consciousness is known as ahankara. Okay, this ahankara which seems to be suffering means dominated or occupied by three gunas, but finally the knowledge will come which is not true. Because this ahankara, it seems to be sentient. The sentiency which is borrowed from the original nature I. So I is the original. That original is known as Atma. The Atma Tattvam is endowed with light. That is self-illumined object. That luminosity which is borrowed from that original nature is known as Ahankara. When you take a bowl on the terrace, when the Chandra Bimba, the reflection of moon, it is there in the water. You take the bowl, with the water, you can see that reflection, then you can boil the water. Now the reflection, which seems to be boiling, but the reflection cannot be bothered, it cannot be disturbed by the nature of water. In the same way, the reflection, the reflected consciousness, which is in the form of I, which is in the form of ahankara, is not boiled by the nature which is called water. We have, we have said already, but it takes a little bit more time. We will understand through gunas. Now this ahankara, which seems to be endowed with gunas, it seems to be victimized by the gunas. Now we will read the next words. Now the impacts of gunas are revealed by Bhagavan Krishna. Sarvadvareshu dekhesmin prakasha upajayate jnanam yada tada vidyat bhavruddham sattvametyuta. By seeing a person, we can understand, okay, he is dominated by sattva guna. Because sarvadvareshu, from all the aspects, from the aspects of his indriyas, jnanendriyas, from the aspects of his mind, from the aspects of his buddhi, from the aspects of his vision, from the aspects of indriyas, from the aspects of his mind, from the aspects of his buddhi, from the aspects of his goals. Everywhere you can see the clarity. From the aspects of his indriyas means he will be endowed with jnanendriyas. He will utilize jnanendriyas more than other indriyas, because human beings should utilize the jnanendriyas. They have to have more the pursuit of knowledge. Animals won't bother about knowledge. Animals don't have schools or college or library. They don't know to give the priority to the knowledge, but a human mind should give the priority to the knowledge. Therefore, his indriyas more engaged with the pursuit of knowledge. And his mind is more occupied with the knowledge of the world, knowledge of the secret of the universe. And his buddhi knows how to set a proper goal, which is predominated by the knowledge, clarity, and the goal which is endowed with more clarity, more pleasure. That's what sarvadvareshu means. You need not, dwara means a hole. It's not whole. Dwara means from all the aspects, so you can feel the clarity. Then jnanam yada tada vidyat. So you can see the knowledge which is predominated with him. That person is known as sattvika person, the person who is dominated by sattva guna. Then the next verse, lobha pravartirarambha karmanama samaspruham rajasyetani jayanti Vavruddhe Bharatarushabha. Bhagavan talks about the person who is dominated by Rajoguna. That we will continue from the next session tomorrow. Harihi Om. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.